We've got another great story here. I want you to give a warm welcome to Carissa Bruce. God's been working in your life, and he's been bringing about some freedom this last year or so. Has been just an amazing journey. I want you to start, if you would, please. Just describe to us what your life was like back before God started to do what he's been doing here of late.
It's going to be hard to follow Dick. He did really well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think maybe there might be a stand-up comic routine in his future. Scott may be right about that.
I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Well, back last year was a really difficult summer, and I was in a really hopeless and, in my opinion, a very destitute place. And I was not maintaining my relationship with the Lord. I was a believer, but I was not maintaining that relationship, and like I should have been. And so as that distance grew between myself and God, things got a lot more difficult. And my problems became larger, bigger than they actually were, and that's what my focus was on. And my husband and I were separated for quite some time. And when I moved back to Spokane, I was just really unclear about my future. I just was really unsure about where my life was headed and if it was going to get better. And I was just in this deepest, darkest place. It was really difficult.
And you said something I think is very interesting. You said your focus was on your problems, and they had become bigger and bigger and bigger. And your relationship with Jesus was not something you were maintaining or pursuing, or you were a believer, right?
Yes.
And that happens to us all. When we get our eyes off of Jesus and on the problems, Jesus fades into the background, and the problems become larger and larger in our view.
Hindsight, I can look back and realize that was the problem, and I didn't see it at that time,
right.
that I wasn't maintaining that relationship with God. I can look back and say, well, that's probably where it all started to go downhill.
Right.
But that was not my main focus at the time.
So some things started to happen that resulted in that changing. Where did it all start?
Like I said, I moved back to Spokane. I was in Oregon staying with some family when my husband and I were dealing with our issues. And I decided it was the right time to move back. And I had attended Mirror Chapel before I left, and so I maintained contact with a few people. And one of them, who had been continually praying for me and really encouraging me to keep my focus on God, she invited me and said, hey, Freedom Ministries is starting back up. I already knew what it was. Didn't really feel like it was for me at the time or before. When
it's good for somebody else.
It was for somebody else.
I don't need that.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah, I got a handle on it.
Yep, I got this.
Yeah.
No, not really the case, but it felt more applicable to me at that time than ever before. And so I had the opinion, okay, I'll do you a favor. I'll show up. Thanks for inviting me. I'll check it out.
Yeah. How many times, Teresa, have we heard that same story? It's like, I'll go just to, appease them just because they want me to. Yeah.
She was so excited about it. She's like, oh, you should come. It's great. And I'm like, okay, I'll do you a favor.
Yeah.
I'll show up. I'm not busy that night.
I'll do this for your sake.
I'll do this for you. And what that did is, I was in the right place that God wanted me to be. Mm-hmm. I was receptive. And frankly, I was terribly miserable and really seeking out something to change. I didn't really know where to start. I felt like I had fallen so far away, and everything else became such a huge priority to me that I didn't even know where to begin. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed because I felt like, God was pretty upset with me.
Yeah. You discovered, however, that he wasn't upset with you.
No.
And he started to help you deal with things differently. What did he start to do? That brought about the change?
I decided to actually go forward with it, not just go the one time and go to the introduction and go through the 12-step program. And because I made that decision to be receptive and I wanted to learn. I didn't feel like I had the opinion that I had everything figured out, that I was there to learn, and I was there to change. I wanted change so desperately because of the way my life was going.
Yeah, and that decision to actually embrace what God had and to be willing to change, that's huge. That's a big part of that. That's kind of opening the floodgate, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you have to come to that place where you make that choice. That's a decision.
You want the change. Yep.
You want the change so bad enough that you're willing to look inward, which is what I did, and figure out what's my part in all of this. What's my responsibility? Why are my relationships with people, my friends and my family, why are they failing? Why am I distancing people?
Yeah.
why am I experiencing these problems? And I had to look inward and be receptive to what God needed to work on my life.
And so you began to own those things, and God began to help you, and other people began to help you work out some of those things. As a result, how would you characterize your life now?
Now, the change that has come out of that, the new healthy habits that I've created in my life about communicating with people in my life, processing things, I mean, just, being a very mature individual and pursuing and maintaining that relationship with God is what has come out of that. But just the change in my life, what it's done for my family, extended and intimate, just in those circles. I've been able to repair relationships. I've been able to first and foremost forgive myself for the choices that I've made, and to move forward and then ask others for their forgiveness, and just repair all the damage that I felt like had been done.
So you were in a very, how'd you describe it, a hopeless, destitute place?
Yeah.
What kind of a place are you in now?
I'm in a joyful place.
That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Relationships are improving. What are you free from besides the hopelessness? What else? How would you characterize the freedom you're experiencing now? Where do you see it heading?
Well, I see for the first time in a long time that my future is bright, that I have things to look forward to. I'm not, like Dick was saying, there's that worry that consumed me, and that hopelessness is not there anymore. I look forward to brighter things, and there's joy in my life I'm experiencing with people, and wanting to create new relationships, and that's what the Freedom Ministry has done. I'm grateful for that. I really am.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's awesome. God's doing some great work in you, and I think I'm going to join with Dick and declare war on worry. Wow, everybody. What do you say? Carissa, thank you so very much for sharing your story here today.
I'm happy to
Appreciate
be here.
it.
Thank you.